What I'm going to show you today is rhubarb, how to plant rhubarb. Now you can either grow rhubarb from seed, which is very tricky, and the rate of germination is usually quite small, but the most successful way to grow them is that you buy a crown. Not a gold one with gems on, but they call it a crown, which is basically is part of the root. You buy that from your garden centre. Now you can usually find these in about February time, and they come in a plastic bag. Sometimes you get 2, sometimes you get 3 per bag, it just depends, and they're in soil. And you take them out of the soil and you look at them and you think there's no way this is going to grow, but it does. Now I went up to Gardener's World this year and I needed some more rhubarb, because the rhubarb that I've had for years and years and years, and some of it is growing absolutely beautifully, and I have holes and I like to fill up my spaces, so I got another 3 rhubarb plants. Whether these were sown from seed or not, I don't quite know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to plant these out in the ground. Now the way I'm going to plant them is exactly the same as you would if you bought a crown, okay? They aren't fussy with where they grow. They don't really want to be in waterlogged ground, as long as it, you know, if it's a damp place but drains quite well, that's fine. But they do like lots of manure, so once a year give them a good circling of manure when all the stems and the leaves have died down. Just whack a load of manure round the top of them, and as the year goes through it will gradually be pulled down, and the rhubarb absolutely loves that. They like lots of water as well, because then they'll grow, but there's so many things you can do with rhubarb. But I'm just going to show you how to plant these. Right, now when you sow these, when you plant them in the ground, they need to be a good couple of feet away from each other, because they will spread. Okay, as the years go on they'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, so they need space to grow. Now I've cleared this area, I've put a load of manure on top, so I'm just going to show you how I'm going to plant this one. I will sort the other 2 out, but I've just plonked them in the positions that I want them to be in. So dig a nice big hole. Oh. Now when you plant your rhubarb, you need to plant it, if you've got crowns, you need to plant it just below the surface, the top, the highest point of it, okay? These plants, I will plant them at the height that they are in the soil here. So hopefully that should be big enough. So let's tip it out, and can you, I hope you can see that. Let me see if I can get it a bit closer. Can you see, apart from the little worm, which is so sweet, this here, this little yellow bit here is part of the crown, and there's another bit, let's take him, come here sweetie, off you go, and there's another bit there, and there'll be a whole section inside, but there are lots of roots coming off of it. So we'll just pop that in the hole, and we'll just backfill it like this. Give it a good push down, because we need to make sure that it's in there really firmly. And what I'll do next is I'll give it a really good water, and then it's fine and it can grow beautifully. So I'll give that a really good water in. I would suggest about half a watering can full, okay, because the roots will need to start to come out and spread. It doesn't matter how much water you give it. Obviously don't completely soak it every day, but a good half can of half full of watering from a watering can on there when you first put it in, and then give it another water in about a week's time, about the same. If it's really dry, then water it every week. If you do have a sudden downpour, then it should be okay. If the leaves start to look a bit droopy, then it will need another water. But once they're settled, which will most probably take the rest of this year, then they don't need watering a huge amount. When you harvest the rhubarb, then give it a good water, and maybe a bit of a feed with some seaweed fertilizer or something like that. Another thing I would suggest is that anything that you plant, whether it's from a crown or whether it's from a plant like this, don't harvest any that very first year, because you're likely to disturb the roots and the crown that you've just planted. It needs to get settled and it needs to get sorted. So from the second season, yes, then pull away, okay, but just not the first one. Okay, well, that's rhubarb. I'll get on and do the other two, and I shall see you soon. Bye bye.